The argument started the way these things always did in my extended family: soft, polite, sugar-coated, before curdling into something sharp enough to slice through bone. We were gathered at Aunt Linda's lakeside cabin in Vermont for our yearly fall brunch, a tradition that used to feel comforting before it turned into a stage for comparison, subtle competition, and performance disguised as family bonding. My cousin Melissa had spent the first 20 minutes passing her phone around, showing everyone photos of her brand new riverfront townhouse. She'd purchased it 6 months ago, and ever since then, no gathering could pass without hearing about quartz countertops, walk-in closets, and the unmatched tranquility of waterfront living. "You wouldn't believe the appreciation potential," she said, tapping her screen so an interior design reel could loop again. "Real estate near water is basically recession-proof. Some people really need to think long-term if they want to build security." Her eyes flicked towards me at the end of the sentence, casual but intentional. Before I continue, if you love stories that hit deep, reveal hidden truths, and expose the kind of family dynamics people pretend don't exist, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and share with someone who needs it. Now, let's continue. Everyone chuckled approvingly at Melissa's comment, nodding as though she just delivered a TED Talk on personal finance. Uncle Stephen, already halfway through his mimosa, raised his glass and said loudly, "That's our Melissa, always thinking ahead. That girl understands the value of ownership. Not everyone your age gets it." Another glance towards me. I just offered a polite smile and kept peeling the label off my sparkling water bottle, the way I always did when conversations turned into disguised evaluations of my life. According to the family, I was still figuring things out. 28 years old, living in a simple studio apartment in a modest part of Brooklyn, working what they assumed was a low-level administrative job at a local nonprofit. In their minds, I was responsible, dependable, but not particularly impressive. Not ambitious, not successful, not Melissa. Aunt Linda leaned forward, scooping more fruit salad onto Melissa's plate. "You've done so well for yourself, honey. It's hard out there. So many people waste money renting forever with nothing to show for it." The silence after that statement was pointed and heavy. I could feel eyes flicking towards me, quick, quiet, polite enough to pretend they weren't looking, judgmental enough to make sure I felt it. "I mean," Melissa said lightly, "renting makes sense for some people. You know, people who aren't ready for commitment, or don't have the down payment, or maybe their career just isn't at that level yet." Her tone was soft, but her words landed with all the force of a slap. I stabbed a piece of cantaloupe with my fork and kept eating quietly. Years of practice had taught me how to stay calm while absorbing their assumptions. The truth was, they knew nothing. They never had. They believed what was easiest to believe, and I had never corrected them. My mother sighed in that disappointed but trying to be supportive voice she'd perfected over the years. "I mean, maybe someday, Zoe. You just need to be more intentional with your money. A little discipline goes a long way." I just nodded. That was the role I played. Agree quietly, keep the peace, let them believe whatever made them feel comfortable. It wasn't worth the energy to explain that I didn't need their approval or validation. It wasn't worth revealing that the version of me they pitied didn't actually exist. "So, what's new at your little nonprofit job?" Uncle Stephen asked, cutting into his French toast. Little. Always little. No matter how I described it, no matter how steady my performance reviews were, no matter how well things were going, my work was always minimized into something small and unimpressive. "It's fine," I answered simply. "Busy as usual." Melissa smirked over her mimosa. "But fulfilling, right? That's the important part." She didn't even hide the condescension. I excused myself from the table under the pretense of grabbing more napkins. I needed a moment away from the performance, the invisible scoreboard, the constant balancing act between who they thought I was and who I actually was. The sliding glass door closed behind me as I stepped onto the deck overlooking the lake. The October air was crisp against my skin, and the water rippled like a shifting mirror. I inhaled deeply, letting the quiet settle around me like a balm. My phone buzzed with a notification. I glanced down and saw the automated alert I got every month. Deposit received, $8,700, Unit 4B, Henry Street, followed by deposit received, $7,950, Unit 12A, Maple Lofts, and then deposit received, $9,200, Ravenswood Duplex. 3 payments, 3 tenants, 3 of my 21 properties. I stared at the lake, watching a pair of ducks glide across the surface. They had no idea. None of them did. As far as my family was concerned, I was a simple girl renting a basic studio apartment and working a little job that barely covered the bills. They didn't know that the apartment I lived in, my studio, was simply the smallest unit in a building I owned outright. They didn't know that the nonprofit job was something I did because I genuinely loved community work, not because I needed the paycheck. They didn't know that my real income came from the carefully built real estate portfolio I had spent the last 6 years acquiring, quietly, methodically, and strategically. They didn't know because I had chosen not to tell them. Every brunch, every holiday, every gathering like this one was built on the same predictable pattern. Melissa flaunting, my family applauding, me staying silent. And honestly, I never minded. Silence protected me. It kept me from being dragged into their exhausting cycle of competition and judgment. But what Melissa didn't know, what no one in my family knew, was that for the last 18 months, I had been paying her property taxes. She'd called me late one night, crying, panicked, embarrassed, saying her interior design business had taken a massive hit. Clients backed out, 2 contracts fell through, her savings were drained, she couldn't keep up, and she begged me not to tell anyone. I just need a little help, just until things pick up again. She whispered through tears. I can't lose the townhouse. It would destroy everything I've built. So I helped. Quietly, anonymously, through a blind trust. She never knew it was me. But here she was today, lecturing, bragging, belittling, with full confidence that she was the successful one, the accomplished one, the one everyone admired. And I was the charity case. The irony would have been hilarious if it weren't for it so exhausting. I slipped my phone back into my pocket and re-entered the cabin, my expression calm, my internal storm buried beneath decades of learned composure. I knew this day was coming, the day when everything Melissa believed about herself and everything my family believed about me would collide violently with the truth. And that moment would arrive sooner than any of them expected. Melissa's voice floated through the open doorway before I even stepped back inside. I just think it's important to make smart choices. Not everyone is meant to be a homeowner. Some people are better suited for simple living. Simple living. The words followed me like a shadow across the wooden floor. As I returned to the dining area, my chair sat waiting, tucked neatly where I had left it between my mother and Aunt Linda, as if the brunch had simply paused in my absence. But nothing had paused. Everything was exactly where I had left it. The subtle competition, the surface-level smiles, the invisible hierarchy my family clung to like an inheritance.
I slid back into my seat. Aunt Linda gave me a sympathetic smile, the kind mothers reserve for children who don't have their lives together, as though I were fragile, as though I were behind, as though my life needed saving. So, Zoe, she said gently. "Have you considered maybe talking to a financial advisor? Someone who could help you get on track?" My mother gave a small nod. "It could help you make better decisions. You're smart, sweetheart. You just need guidance." Guidance. As if I'd been wandering through life in the dark, bumping into walls I didn't know were there. I pressed the tines of my fork into a piece of melon and kept my voice even. "I'm doing fine." Melissa snorted into her drink. "You always say that, but renting forever doesn't give you stability. You know that, right?" Not everyone wants the pressure of a mortgage or the responsibility of maintaining a home. I stayed silent, not because I didn't have a response, but because every word spoken at this table came with layers of invisible meaning. And I had grown very good at navigating those layers without revealing the truth underneath them. Melissa leaned back, confidence radiating off her as she swirled the remaining mimosa at the bottom of her crystal glass. "Honestly, Zoe, you'd be happier if you made better financial choices. You've been in that tiny apartment for what, 3 years now? Same neighborhood, same job, no long-term growth. Don't you want more for yourself?" There it was. The question I'd been asked, directly or indirectly, for years. Don't you want more? If they only knew. I lifted my gaze and met Melissa's eyes. "I'm comfortable with my choices." She looked at me with the kind of pity reserved for people you've already decided will never catch up to you. "Comfortable is fine, but you really should think about your future. Equity, generational wealth. You could learn a lot from watching how I handle things." I didn't react. I didn't flinch. I didn't correct her, even though her townhouse was being held together by the financial support she didn't know I was providing. Because that was the part she always forgot. You can't teach someone lessons you haven't learned yourself. The room shifted as Aunt Linda began clearing plates. My mother joined her. Conversations broke into smaller clusters. My uncles talking about sports, my aunts and cousins discussing holiday plans. I carried my empty glass to the sink, rinsing it slowly. Behind me, I could hear Melissa giving Mom advice about creative ways to build your net worth even if you don't earn a lot. Mom laughed politely. Melissa kept going. And I stood at the sink, watching soap suds slide down the glass, thinking about the moment everything would shift. It wasn't a matter of if anymore, only when. Because earlier that week, I had received an email from Melissa's mortgage servicer, a notice I got automatically due to the tax escrow account I'd set up for her through my blind trust. Property taxes overdue. Penalty begins in 14 days. Immediate action required. Her successful life was a house built on wet paper towels, and I was done holding up the roof. A few hours later, when brunch was finally wrapping up, Melissa cornered me near the coat rack. She always did this, waited until no one else was within earshot, then shifted from superiority to desperation. "Hey," she whispered, pulling her designer cardigan tighter around her arms. "So, I was going through some statements this week. Here it comes." I kept my expression neutral. The county adjusted the tax rate again, and well, you know how last quarter went for me. I hate asking, but could you cover next month's taxes the way you've been doing? There it was. The truth behind the image. The quiet plea behind the loud bragging. I raised a brow. "Again?" She nodded quickly, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Just until the business recovers. Things are picking up. I promise, I just need a little more time. The same words she had said a year ago, and 6 months ago, and 3 months before that. How much time? I asked calmly. I don't know, just not long, I swear. I leaned against the wall, studying her carefully. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on me. The woman lecturing me minutes ago about financial literacy was now begging for help she wasn't brave enough to ask for publicly. Zoe. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I can't lose that townhouse. You know what it would do to my reputation. People take me seriously because of how I live, because of what I've built. You haven't built anything. The words were soft, almost gentle, but they cut through her defenses like a blade. She froze. What? I kept my tone even. You haven't built anything. You've been maintaining an image I've been paying for. Her eyes widened, panic flickering across her face. Wait, you're not saying... You're not cutting me off, right? Zoe, please, you can't do that. I'm getting back on my feet. I swear I am. The desperation in her voice echoed the same sound I had heard in that late-night call 18 months ago. But something in me had shifted since then. I wasn't angry, just tired. Tired of playing along. Tired of funding illusions. Tired of being the villain in a story where I'd been the quiet hero all along. I'm done, I said simply. Next month is the last payment. After that, you'll need to handle everything yourself. She staggered back as if I'd physically pushed her. Zoe, no, you don't understand. I can't afford the property taxes on my own right now, not on the business income I have. That isn't my responsibility. Her breathing turned shallow. I'll get behind. My credit will tank. I'll lose the house. Everyone will know. Yes, I said softly. They will. She grabbed my wrist, fingers trembling. Please, Zoe, I'm begging you. I'll pay you back. I promise. I just need a few more months. You've needed a few more months for a year and a half. Tears pooled beneath her lashes. But things were supposed to work out. I was supposed to bounce back. I just need more time. Melissa. I pulled my wrist gently from her grip. I'm done with this. Her tears spilled over. You don't understand. I do. More than you think. She settled back in defeat. She didn't say another word. And I walked away. During the 2-hour drive back to Brooklyn, I thought about what would happen next. I knew Melissa, knew how deeply she depended on perception, image, and illusion. I knew the fear that came with losing the one thing that proved to the world she was successful. And I also knew something else. She wouldn't keep this secret for long. The moment the consequences became real, she would crack. She would panic. She would break under the pressure of maintaining the version of herself that she sold to our family every weekend. And when that happened, my silence would no longer matter. The truth would come crashing out of her whether she wanted it to or not. And when it did, my family would realize just how wrong they'd been for years. 3 days passed before the message came, the kind that makes your stomach tighten even before you read it. A group text from my mother, sent at 7:18 p.m., right after I'd settled into my couch with leftover pasta. Family meeting at our house on Thursday evening, 6 p.m. It's important. I stared at the message for a long moment, already knowing exactly who had initiated this and why. Melissa. She'd finally reached the breaking point I'd been expecting. I didn't respond immediately. My mother hated that. But I needed a minute, not to prepare myself, but to accept that silence no longer belonged only to me. The truth was coming, whether I spoke it or not. Eventually, I typed, "I'll be there." And that was that. Thursday came with the first real cold snap of the season. Frost clung to the edges of car windows, and the wind had sharpness to it, as if nature itself sensed something was about to shatter. I arrived at my parents' house right at 6 p.m., the way I always did, on time, quiet, expected but not necessarily welcomed with enthusiasm. Everyone was already gathered in the living room. Uncle Stephen, Aunt Linda, my mother wringing her hands the way she always did when anxious, my father sitting rigidly in his favorite recliner, and Melissa, eyes red, hair pulled into a messy bun, mascara smudged like shadows under her eyes. She stood when I walked in. I closed the door gently behind me. "What's going on?" She inhaled sharply. "I need to tell everyone something." The room went still. Utterly, painfully still. Like the world had paused mid-breath. My mother gestured toward the couch. "Sit down, Zoe." I lowered myself onto the corner cushion. Melissa stood standing, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles had turned white. "I haven't been completely honest with you all," she began, her voice breaking on the first sentence. "About my situation." My father leaned forward. "What situation?" She swallowed hard. "My finances." My mother tensed, eyes darting between Melissa and the rest of us as if trying to anticipate the fallout. Melissa continued, tears already forming. "The business hasn't been doing well. In fact, I've been struggling for over a year. 2 years, actually." Whispers rustled through the room. I couldn't keep up with the townhouse expenses, the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance. It was all too much. I was drowning, and I didn't want anyone to know. I couldn't let anyone think I wasn't doing well. Her voice cracked again. I felt nothing. Not coldness, not gloating, just a quiet sadness for what pride can do to a person. "And I've been getting help to keep everything afloat. Financial help." My mother gasped softly. "From who? The bank? A loan company? Stephen?" Melissa shook her head. "No, not a bank, not a company." Then she turned toward me. "It was Zoe." You could have dropped a feather in that room and heard it land. My father blinked hard, confusion twisting across his face. "Zoe? What do you mean, Zoe?" Melissa's chin trembled. "She's been paying my property taxes for the last 18 months. My uncle's mouth fell open. Aunt Linda froze with her hand pressed against her chest. My mother looked like she'd been slapped. My father let out a strained, disbelieving laugh. "That's not possible. Zoe, paying anything for you? How? With what money?" Melissa choked on a sob. "Because she's not who we think she is." My father turned to me. "Zoe, what is she talking about?" I held his gaze steadily. "Exactly what she said." He shook his head violently. No, you work at a small nonprofit. You rent an apartment you can barely afford. You don't have..." "I own 21 properties across New York and New Jersey. Residential, mixed use, a few small commercial units. They're all managed through my investment firm." Silence. Not the simple kind,
The kind that's heavy. The kind that sits on the chest like a weight. My mother's lips parted, but no sound came out. Melissa lowered herself onto the arm of the couch. She's been paying my taxes through a blind trust. I didn't even know it was her until last week. I just assumed the trust was run by an investor helping me temporarily. But it was her.
My father's face flushed a deep red. Anger, embarrassment, confusion swirling together. 21 properties? You don't own property, Zoe. If you did, we'd know. Why would you hide something like that? I spoke evenly, without shame or apology. Because you all decided who I was a long time ago, and nothing I said was going to change it. My father's jaw clenched. You should have corrected us. I tried, but every time I said I was doing fine, you assumed I was lying to protect my pride. Every time I mentioned work, you assumed it wasn't important. Every time I said I was stable, you dismissed it. My mother finally found her voice. But why not tell us directly, Zoe? Because it didn't matter. I didn't build my life to impress you or anyone. I built it because I wanted security, freedom, and peace. I looked around the room, but I got tired of funding Melissa's lifestyle while she lectured me about stability. Melissa winced, her hands shaking. "That's not fair," she whispered. I was trying to keep up. I felt like if I didn't maintain that image, no one would take me seriously. Not in business, not in this family. A bitter laugh escaped her. I gave advice I couldn't follow myself, and I didn't want anyone to know. Aunt Linda looked at her with wide eyes. "You let Zoe pay your taxes?" She didn't know it was me, I clarified. I set it up anonymously. My father stared at me like I had become someone entirely new. And you were just going to keep all this from us? I planned to continue helping her for a few months, but Melissa assumed it was endless, that I would always catch her when she fell. And I'm done. She needs to live within her means. Melissa's voice rose, trembling. I told them because I can't do it alone. I can't pay next month. I'll default. And I didn't know who else to turn to. My father exhaled slowly. "So what happens now?" "I already told her," I replied. "Next month is the last payment. After that, she has to figure it out." The room dissolved into debate. My father pacing, my mother trying to comfort Melissa, Uncle Stephen asking irrelevant questions, Aunt Linda looking like she might faint. I didn't engage. There was nothing left to say. I had lived 2 years supporting someone who stepped on me to reach higher ground. 2 years letting a family believe I was small because I didn't perform success the way they recognized it. 2 years keeping everyone else's illusions intact while silently carrying the weight of someone else's choices. But that era had ended. Eventually, my mother sat beside me, her hand trembling slightly as she reached for mine. "Zoe, we were wrong. We were so wrong." I didn't squeeze her hand back. Not out of coldness, just clarity. I said quietly, "Sometimes people see only what matches the story they already believe." She swallowed tightly, emotion clouding her eyes. "I want to understand truly." "You will, in time." Across the room, Melissa was sobbing into a tissue while Uncle Stephen tried to calculate foreclosure timelines out loud like it was a math problem he could solve. Everything was unraveling. Everything was shifting. And the old version of our family dynamic, the hierarchy, the assumptions, the quiet belittling, was dying right in front of us. Not violently, not dramatically, just truthfully. And once truth enters a room, nothing goes back to the way it was. The days after the family meeting unfolded with a strange mixture of tension and clarity, like the air right after a thunderstorm,
charged, heavy, but undeniably cleaner. Melissa's confession had cracked something open in all of us, something that had been festering beneath the surface for years. The hierarchy my family clung to, where Melissa stood proudly at the top and I existed quietly beneath, had dissolved in a matter of minutes. And now everyone was left staring at the truth, unsure how to navigate a world where their assumptions no longer fit. Melissa spent the first few days in panic mode. I knew because she texted my mom constantly, asking for advice, for leads, for alternatives to losing her precious townhouse. But the truth was simple. The numbers didn't lie. She couldn't afford it. Not on her business income, not on her savings, not with the debt she'd accumulated keeping up an image she could never sustain. On Saturday morning, my mother called. "Can you come over?" I hesitated, but agreed. When I arrived, Melissa was already there, hair pulled into a low bun, hoodie sleeves pulled over her hands, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. There was no makeup on her face, no false confidence in her posture, no superiority in her voice. Just a woman finally facing the reality she'd run from. My mother motioned to the couch. "Sit, both of you." Melissa sat on one end, I sat on the other. My mother watched us carefully, as if afraid we might shatter at the slightest wrong word. "I've been thinking. For years, we encouraged Melissa because we thought she was doing well, and we pushed you, Zoe, because we thought you weren't. We didn't realize, we didn't know. You didn't ask." I said simply. Melissa flinched. My mother swallowed. "You're right. We didn't ask. We assumed. And that's our fault." Melissa took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on her hands. "Zoe, I know I can't undo the things I said to you, the comments I made, the advice I gave when I was the one drowning, but I need you to know I'm sorry. It wasn't defensive, it wasn't performative, it was finally honest. I shouldn't have pretended I had everything together. I shouldn't have judged you or talked down to you or made you feel small when you were the one quietly helping me survive. I didn't deserve your support, and I know that now." I watched her carefully, trying to read the sincerity in her expression. For once, Melissa wasn't hiding behind curated success or perfect presentation. She was exposed, vulnerable, human. "I wasn't angry at you for struggling. I was angry because you gave me advice you weren't following. You lectured me about stability while I was the one holding yours together." She nodded slowly. "I know, and that's what I regret the most." My mother placed a gentle hand on my knee. "Zoe, you have every right to set boundaries, to protect yourself, but I also hope maybe you and Melissa can rebuild something healthier." I exhaled deeply. I'm not shutting her out, I just won't enable her. Melissa wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "I get it, and I'm not asking you to continue. I just want to do things right from now on my own 2 feet." There was a sincerity to her tone I hadn't heard in a long time, maybe ever. My mother exhaled with relief, as if the tension in the room had been holding her hostage. Good, because the truth is, this family needed this. We needed to see each other clearly for once, without the facade.
For a long moment, no one spoke. The silence wasn't harsh or heavy. It was peaceful, honest, a kind of silence we'd never shared before. Over the next few weeks, Melissa began what she called her reality reset. She met with a financial counselor. She listed the townhouse for sale. She started looking at smaller condos, places she could actually afford, places that matched her real income, not her imagined status. The townhouse sold far faster than she expected. Waterfront properties usually did. And though she didn't make the fortune she fantasized about, the equity was enough to wipe out her credit card debt, pay off lingering business expenses, and give her the first emergency fund she'd ever owned. I helped her move in, not because she asked, but because it felt right. She kept apologizing as she packed boxes, for the way I treated you, for assuming things, for believing image mattered more than truth, for talking down to the only person who cared enough to help. Each apology was softer, more genuine, more grounded. When we carried her final box into the new condo, she stood in the middle of the small, bright living room and let out a long exhale. It's not fancy, but it's mine. Truly mine. I can afford it. I can breathe here. For the first time in years, I saw a version of Melissa that wasn't curated for the world, just real. That's worth more than anything, I told her. She smiled, not the smug, performative smile she used to wear, but a small, grateful one. Thank you for being there when I didn't deserve it. And thank you for finally saying no when I needed it. Her voice didn't tremble. Her pride didn't choke her. Her honesty didn't frighten her. She was growing. And so was I. Back at my apartment, my building, I sat by the window overlooking the street. Cars passed, people hurried by. Life moved the way it always had. But something in me felt lighter now that the truth was no longer something I had to carry alone. My family had changed, subtly but unmistakably. My father now asked my opinion on market trends before making financial decisions. My mother no longer spoke to me with the tone of someone trying to fix me. Uncle Stephen stopped assuming Melissa was the standard everyone should follow. Aunt Linda asked questions instead of offering unsolicited suggestions. And Melissa? She stopped performing. Stopped padding her stories, stopped flaunting achievements that weren't real. Our conversations became mutual, not one-sided, equal, not competitive, honest, not curated. For the first time, we were sisters, not rivals in a silent war neither of us wanted to fight. A few months later, I received a text from Melissa. First mortgage payment on the condo, paid entirely on my own. It feels incredible. I'm really proud of myself. Thank you for helping me get here. I stared at the message for a long moment, a small smile tugging at my lips. Not because she needed me, but because she didn't anymore. And that felt like closure. The quiet kind, the peaceful kind, the kind you don't announce or celebrate loudly. The kind you just acknowledge and carry with you. For years, I let my family assume things about me because it was easier than correcting them. For years, I let Melissa project her confidence onto me, even when she was the one unraveling. For years, I carried the burden of truth while being treated like the girl who couldn't get her life together. But all stories have a breaking point, and when the truth finally came out, it didn't destroy us, it freed us. No more illusions, no more myths, no more roles assigned without understanding. Just reality, just growth, just honesty. And in the end, that felt more valuable than any property I owned. If this story hit you deeply, if it made you think about family, self-worth, boundaries, or the truth people hide behind, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who needs the reminder. Comment below what lesson you took from this story. Your voice matters here. Let's talk about it.